Hello and welcome to the continuation of your news and current affair program this morning on ITV. I am Marcelina Hunkwa. All right, this beautiful morning we're going to be discussing about the resignation of Atiku Abubakar, who resigned from PDP. Says party is derailed from its ideals. You know, he resigned dated July 14, 2025. And I'm not going to be having this conversation alone. I have my guest here with me, Honorable Emeka Eze. Hello, good morning, sir.
Good morning, and thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for coming.
Welcome. Well, it's a very interesting topic you have us talk about. And,
yes, yeah, thank you so much. Atiku Abubakar disclosed his intention to leave the opposition party in the letter dated July 14, 2025, where he addressed to the PDP board chairman in Jada local government area of Adamawa State. He describes his departure from PDP as heartbreaking, saying the party has trailed from ideas on which it was founded. You know, he expressed his gratitude for the opportunity he was given by the party to full term. You know, he served as vice president and presidential candidate twice. His first defection occurred in 2006 when he left PDP, you know, to join the Action Congress, which later turned to Action Congress of Nigeria. The move was driven by his ambition to contest for the 2007 presidential election, which he eventually lost. And then he returned again to PDP in 2009 and left in 2014 to contest for to join APC, where he contested for the APC presidential primary ahead of the 2015 election, but was defeated by late President Muhammadu Buhari. Okay, the question now is, you know, Atiku has been off and on. He will leave the party and come back. And the question is, how significant is this move in the context of Nigerians' political history and party loyalty?
Well, Marcelina, trust me, take it or leave it. The PDP has lost a very big gladiator in the political terrain. It's actually we're going to see very interesting times to come, because for some persons will say frequently moving from party to party. I think it's between ideology and and personal ideology and whatever it is. So what I think is it has two faces. Number one is the PDP may lose one of its major players, one of the persons who have been a founding father of the party, joined the party as early as 1998, and has been with the party on and off different times. If you look at the letter he put out recently, he said they derailed from the foundational principles, whatever that means to him. He leaves the party. Now, what the party should be looking at is the two parts, the advantage and the disadvantage. One is that he goes with the strength, the power that he moves with as a politician, but at the same time it avails the PDP the opportunity to begin to look inwards and try to put things together if they want to change principles of what the party stands for, and begin to look at making it a more youth-oriented party, begin to look at what the other things about the party, revamp the party. But that's something to if the PDP is ready to do that. But I'll tell you one thing: wherever it is Atiku goes to at the moment, that's why I consider it a major loss for the PDP. Wherever he goes to, he goes with wealth of experience in politics. He goes to a national structure of supporters, and at the same time he goes with his financial muscle, which is a great advantage to any party he joins at the moment. Oh,
thank you so much, Honorable Emeka. Thank you so much for that great input. When we this all ADC coalition started, Atiku, in likes of Atiku, Obi, Amechi, Rotimi Amechi, El Rufai, Wike, they came together, to form this ADC coalition for them to unseat our current President Ahmed Bola Tinubu. You know, a lot of persons were like, okay, now that Atiku is still in PDP and he has formed this ADC, joined to form this current ADC coalition, you know, some persons were like, okay, is he going to stay, still be in the current PDP, or will he just move? And seeing this thing now, I wouldn't say it's a shock, because, you know, it has been happening. He has been moving from one party to another, you know, moving from PDP at first to ACN, Action Congress of Nigeria, then later moved to APC, then came back again to PDP, and now the ADC, he has finally resigned from PDP. Do you think this opened for more defections, particularly among other Northerners or high-ranking PDP members?
Like I would always say, every politician reserves the right to freedom of association. You may want to be a part of the party, and you may want to leave the party at any time. It depends on the reasons why the person leaves. Now, I hate to judge anyone for that. I've also played around within the political cycle, and I know what it can be.
Okay.
Sometimes you have your own plans planned out, but the existing arrangement within your party structure may be, the problem, and it's something that does not, tally with, the plans you have as a politician. So on that note, you are left with no other option than to, ply your trade elsewhere. So having left the party and come back, I hate to judge any politician for that. But I'll take one thing, and I just want to point something out very, very quickly. I said it earlier.
Okay.
Where he goes with muscle, But my concern is with issues that border around the coalition. Some persons, it's still work in progress. It's still in the cooking pot. Some of the candidates or potential candidates within the ADC are also still having connections with their existing parties, because everything about the ADC is about the 2027 elections.
Yes.
So there are still some states that would carry out elections. There are still party candidates that are counting on these individuals to carry out certain things within their state. So what I am concerned about is knowing now that his exit from PDP means he would likely not be a candidate of the PDP in the next elections, which means wherever it is he's going to, which don't quote me, but which is likely going to be the ADC, which he's a key player in the coalition, then that means we have one person ticked already to be a possible presidential candidate if that decision comes from him. Now, what it means is that it's sleepless night for other potential presidential hopefuls within the party. Conversations will start now. People will begin to look in different directions. But I've always recommended or advised, it is my wish, but then the politicians have their rights as well. But it's my wish that the ADC do not come bringing what is already, don't come playing the status quo. Okay, we need to start looking at things outside the box, and you need to look at how do I put it now? The level of acceptance. You need to look at the amount of persons the candidates would appeal to. You need to look at the energy any candidate you decide on would bring. And you need to look at the coverage, the even spread across, the different senatorial zones within the country.
Okay.
Atiku comes with wealth of experience that would help draw. At least he's the rallying point right now, like I mentioned earlier, the Northeast and the Northwest. And you have other players within the coalition. You have the likes of Right Honorable Rotimi Amechi, who's from the South. Believe it or not, one of Nigeria's very, very, very experienced grassroots politicians, would come with some additions. And then the former governor of Kaduna State, Malam El-Rufai, would also come with a lot. So what that coalition should be talking about now is realigning, sitting at the table and understanding what each person brings to the table. Trust me, you don't bring what people have seen time and time. You don't try to solve a problem with the same approach that you've done over time. The results will still remain the same.
Let's talk about the coalition, 2027 election, the ADC coalition.
Yes.
Do you think that these persons that have come together to form the coalition, the likes of Atiku, Obi, Amechi, El-Rufai, and the rest, do you think that it will work? Come to the fact that now the presidential tickets will be given to just one person. Do you think this person will want to you know, relax back for the other person, like, okay, you take it. Because Obi made a statement that if I should get the presidential ticket, I'll roll for just the first tenure, the first 4 years. Then after then, I can pass it on to the next person. And at the same time, you know, Atiku feels this thing is my right. He has been contesting, right? Okay, let's take it to this angle between Atiku and Obi. Do you think either of them would want to like sacrifice for another person? Okay, you can have the ticket, you know, let me sit back and allow this person.
Okay, I'll tell you something for free. These are events that would unfold in the coming days.
Yeah, sure.
I like to be very fair when I discuss politics as an analyst. I like to give everyone, you know, the benefit of doubt. And, you know, Atiku has the right to contest as many times as possible if he wants to. He has the right to move from any party to any party he wants to. But what we're talking about is fairness, ideologies, and analyzing and looking at character. Now, but that put aside, I'm talking about the players. Take it or leave it, there are going to be many more entrants. There are going to be major surprises within the coalition. A lot of names, a lot of persons will come in. Bigger, very big, many other big gladiators, trust me. As events unfold, people are crossing their T's right now, dotting their I's. I would not be mentioning names, but there are so many other persons that would unveil, you know, their wish to be part of the coalition. Some of them come from the angle of their connections with the existing gladiators at the moment. Some are coming from the angle of how they've been treated right now in the parties they currently belong to, and so on and so forth. The gladiators we know at the moment who are there are the 4 persons that we've mentioned in this program since we started, which is Atiku Abubakar, Peter Obi, Malam El-Rufai, and of course Rotimi Amechi. But we're going to be seeing many other persons. But what is important if ADC wants to make a headway is the conversation, and you know, that they will be having the matured conversations as experienced politicians. It's not about me coming, it's not about you coming. If me, you, him come together, what do we bring to the table? The what do you call it? The parts of Kaduna State and the rest of them have a very strong loyalty for Malam El-Rufai, and he appeals to a lot of persons as a technocrat, even though there may be differences that border along religious lines and the rest. He holds a very, you know, powerful control of a lot of persons within that region. At the moment, we've seen plenty of drama around the South, and we've lost confidence in a lot of persons. So if an old man who's experienced within the South region understands the dynamics of grassroots politics within the South emerges in, you know, to speak about, you know, the coalition, trust me, Amechi will be coming with a lot of power from the South. The same appeals to Obi, who not only has a lot of influence in the Southeast, but across the nation, across, you know, amongst young Nigerians, and a lot of the technocrats who see him as a possible messiah, someone who will come fix the country. So everybody brings something to the table. But who has the highest level of acceptance? That's what the conversation, and this something they all have to sit at the table and tell themselves the truth.
Let's talk about Peter Obi. You mentioned, Peter Obi, you know, he wasn't able to attend Buhari's burial. According to him, he couldn't get a flight, right? So there are lots of speculations on the there are lots of speculations, people saying that, oh, you're trying to contest for the presidential election, right? And you didn't attend Buhari's burial. So what makes you think the North, we are going to support you with this act you just did? Of course, the next day he visited, you know, he went to visit the children and the wife, you know, he went to pay them condolence visits, telling them that he wasn't available. He couldn't get a flight, you know, to attend the burial. Do you think it's going to affect Obi in any way, in the aspect of the North not being one to vote for him because he didn't attend Buhari's burial?
Marcelina, believe it or not, Nigerians are not fools, not even the Northerners. Attending the burial is not a yardstick for, you know, saying how much you love the North. I can give you a whole list of even Northern politicians and bigwigs within the political space in Nigeria who didn't make it to that burial. I can give you a whole list, especially those that are even very close, you know, to Buhari. If he says he was unavoidably absent, excuse me, what's the rift? Some persons even lost my respect. Some of them I follow on social media who came ranting and saying all dirty things about his absence at the event. That's not, even if he chooses to pay a visit to the family a month after. We lost our past president. His burial took place. If you look at some of the videos and pictures, you see Obi even signed the condolence register, paid visits to the family, had conversations with them. What more can we ask for? It's just that in the Nigerian media, especially the social media space, where everyone is allowed to rant and say all sorts of things, people just come and give analysis based on, you know, myopic reasoning. Why would you want to judge a man because he unavoidably couldn't make it to to a burial? You know, it doesn't reduce the amount of love and support he has for the family.
All
so
right,
as far as I'm concerned, that's a no-no.
Thank you so much, Honorable Emeka Eze. Okay, we're still on TMI this morning on ITV. We'll quickly go on a short break. Stay tuned. Welcome back and thank you for staying. I still have my guest here with me, Honorable Emeka Eze. Okay, we're still talking about the resignation of Atiku resigning from PDP, you know, coupled to the fact of this about the ADC coalition for the 2027 forthcoming election. Do you think Atiku moves will strengthen or weaken the emerging ADC-led coalition ahead of the 2027 election?
Well, it's a two-way thing.
Okay.
He is a major player. Like I said earlier, Atiku comes with a lot of political experience, brings a national structure of support system to, you know, the party or the coalition itself. That's so much is going to be added. Not to mention the fact that he comes with, forgive me the use of the words, financial muscle, financial support for the party. But that's on one side. But if you look at it, we just hope that the blessings that Atiku will be coming to the coalition will not end up as causes if the right conversations do not take place. If the players do not sit down to really look at it jointly and say, okay, because there's so much Atiku can do for the ADC, and there's a lot of roles he can play without having to be the presidential candidate. Okay. I would not even recommend him to fly the flag as the presidential candidate of the party, but I can tell you his addition to that, you know, that circle, that coalition would add so much value. One, that reassures the ADC of victory in the next election if he supports, or if the conversation is about getting someone who appeals to every section of the country, especially the youths and the technocrats, one who has a structure that appeals to many others, okay, and at the same time where he's able to get the support. Because, okay, I'll take for instance, I hate to sound this way, but that's my singular opinion. I would have recommended a PDP ticket, PDP and someone from the north as vice, you know. But I would want whoever it is that emerges from the north to be someone that will be recommended or presented, you know, by Atiku. And I would like the coalition, if it ends up, you know, as what we are looking at it to be as a major opposition going into the next election, to have Atiku Abubakar as its leader and the rallying point. But at the same time, being a presidential candidate may not be the best advice.
Like I said earlier, I feel Atiku at this point, he wouldn't want to like step back for anybody, because he feel, I don't know, with speculations, you know, this thing for him to be contesting over and over and over again, if this is my right, I need to rule Nigeria.
Well, none of us is in his head at the moment. The decision to leave the party was his. The decision to enter the ADC would be his. And even if he has had a go at the different times when he left for the AC, when he came back, when he joined the APC, when he came back, when he lost the primaries and returned, and returned back to the PDP again in, to contest elections in 2023, those were decisions he took by himself. And we cannot say for sure what's going on in his head right now. But then one thing that these four gladiators who are currently there in the ADC share in common is their desire to remove the APC-led government. And if all of them share that as if that's the lowest common multiple for both all four persons and those who will be joining, then the conversations will be, how do we do this? And that should come and rate above personal interest.
Do you think this all ADC coalition thing would work in removing Tinubu? Of course, it has happened before, era of Jonathan, they were able to remove him with ADC coalition stuff, with the coalition stuff. Do you think it's going to work for this, our current president?
You see, I wish this gist was happening in my sitting room. There are certain things I would have said freely.
Oh.
But we're on national TV, and I know these events would unfold with time. There are a lot that would happen. You see, the problem, the people who would help the coalition to achieve its aim are currently in the APC. There's so many persons who are pretending to be comfortable within the APC. Who would be the players that will be used in, but the most important thing is getting the calculation right. Don't forget the man we're talking about, who is the president at the moment. I may not be a staunch supporter of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, but take it or leave it, that's one man who very well understands the Nigerian political terrain and knows his way around. That's anybody who's a honest person to himself would tell himself. So they're going into that fight, they're going into that battle, they have to come very prepared and very intentional. So it's not where you're coming into.
So it's not going to be an easy task.
It shouldn't be an easy task, but it's achievable. Okay. Achievable because it will depend, and don't forget, we're talking about this a bit early. This is 2025. You never can tell what his policies and government policies and economic, there could be an economic turnaround. I've seen situations where going into an election, things happen and the economy is fixed and people are becoming a bit happy with the government, and then the opposition is no longer holding water. But that's a prayer, just a wish. But at the same time, the ADC coalition would need to be very, very intentional. I'll repeat, it's important for them to sit down, look at it, place, the possibility of winning above personal interest. If these four gladiators who have a lot to bring to the table go into that battle believing in just what they want for themselves, then they'll lose ahead of time.
The fact that Atiku has been contesting over and over and over and over again, do you think Nigerian public still trusts him as a viable leader, or are those people tired of him already?
No,
for the repeated presidential roles?
Very, very relative. When you say contesting over and over again, another angle of thought to see that as perseverance, another angle of thought to see that as desperation. So it depends on where you're looking at it from. There are some supporters who have religiously followed him over these years as he's been contesting. He's had time as a vice president of the country 2 times.
Yes.
And fell out with the president at the time.
Yes.
Left the party, went to another party, tried out, lost there. When people lose elections, there's so many factors that play. It could be the calculation at that time. For example, the last election, it was clear that immediately coming from the presidency of President Muhammad Buhari, it worked against him. It's saying moving in from a northern president to another northern president. That was a factor that played against him. But if you look at the figures, you'd see he did very well in that election. The gap wasn't too much. So you can't wish such persons away and say, well, the people will not.
So you do not think Nigerians are tired?
No. The word there is not tired. There's so many factors, like I said, that will play a key role. Now, if there's something called the better devil. So if the calculations favor him and people say, instead of me going this route, since he has emerged, there's still voters who just want to be with him because he's the person who has emerged. But like I said, that's not what I wish for the coalition. People want to see new energy. People want to see a new drive. People want to be able to give to, they want to see a new working system, something that that fits their dreams and their belief. And I don't think political fatigue. I think my brother and friend Atiku Abubakar has been overused. Let's have someone else.
Let's have someone else. Okay. Finally, in one word or phrase, how would you describe the current state of Nigerians' opposition landscape?
Well, it hasn't been formidable. And that's because a lot of politicians or persons who should add value to the oppositions, lend voices, have personal interest above some persons, you see, and this is because partisan politics in Nigeria is really not about the values that you represent. It's about the interest and personal interest. When we start having formidable oppositions, it will be to the benefit of the people. So as far as I'm concerned at the moment, the opposition has been very weak, but we are looking at what the ADC as a coalition has to offer. If they can bring something different, to the table, and that would help checkmate some of the things. But at the same time, it still boils down to the Constitution and the amount of control the leadership has in the instruments that work for government.
With what has been happening in the country in terms of insecurity, food, and all of that, do you think Nigeria will still want our current ruling party, that is the APC President Ahmed Bola Tinubu, to still be the president, 2027?
Well, I can't be in the minds of every Nigerian, but I can tell you one thing for free. The people are not enjoying the best of times. The government says they are doing their best. The people are not exactly feeling the impact as of now. In some other TV station, when I had the opportunity of assessing his 30 days in office, I said it was too early to judge. Maybe some of the things he's going through may be an aftermath of the previous administration, but I think the amount of time we spent so far is enough to correct the norms. And one thing I would like to point out here before we go is that one major mistake that I've always spoken against in this current administration is misplacement of priorities and the high cost of governance.
Misplacement of priorities and high cost of governance. Thank you so much, Honorable Maker. What should Nigerians be watching closely in the few months as 2027 draws closer?
What they should be looking out for?
Yeah.
Well, I think all eyes should be on the ADC. If the coalition is properly arranged and the events that unfold in the coming days are cool and good, then we would see healthy competition that would not just keep the current government on their toes, but help us expect a lot of drama in the 2027 elections.
Thank you so much. And we've talked about the Atiku Resigns from APC, and a lot of persons from PDP. Thank you for the correction. A lot of persons are like saying, is it going to come back? Because he has been going and coming. Let's see. And let's see how it's going to affect the forthcoming 2027 election, this ADC coalition stuff. Are they going to cooperate? Do you think the ADC coalition is going to work to unseat our current president in person of Bola Ahmed Tinubu? Do you think it's going to work? Is Atiku going to come back to PDP, or the fact that he has left, he's not coming back? All right,
fingers crossed.
Oh, fingers crossed. Yes, let's see what's going to happen. Thank you so much, Honorable Emeka Eze. I appreciate your comment.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you very much. All right, that is all on TMI this beautiful morning.